we're going to begin our befriending journey by exploring the autonomic pathways. The autonomic nervous system is at the heart of our daily experience, and our stories about who we are and how the world works, what we do, and how we feel emerge from the autonomic nervous system. It's our biology that shapes our experiences of safety and connection. While we may think our brains are running the show, really, the way we navigate the world begins in our body with our autonomic nervous system. So let's begin our befriending journey with understanding one of the organizing principles of Polyvagal Theory, the autonomic hierarchy. The autonomic nervous system evolved over millions of years. And just as the brain was created in three parts, first the brainstem, then the limbic system, and finally the cortex, the autonomic nervous system also evolved in three parts. First the dorsal vagal, then the sympathetic, and finally the ventral vagal. And just like the brain, when each new system emerged, the older one wasn't discarded, but instead was kept and built onto. We can imagine this three-layered system in all sorts of ways. In my prior writing, I've used a ladder metaphor, but we could also use the image of a staircase, those lovely nesting dolls, the matryoshka, mixing bowls or measuring cups that fit inside each other, really anything that represents an ordered system. A way I've come to love and use often in my teaching is the imagery of three circles, a center one, surrounded by a larger one that's held within an even larger one. You may know the autonomic nervous system as the system of parasympathetic rest and digest and sympathetic fight and flight. The story is a bit more complicated, though. Our story of the autonomic nervous system begins around 500 million years ago with a prehistoric fish called a placoderm. This was the beginning of the parasympathetic nervous system, with what we know as the dorsal vagal system. If we imagine a turtle, we get a sense of this system. Slow, moving steadily along, and when scared, the turtle retreats into its shell, immobilizes, disappears, and waits until it's safe enough to peek out at the world again. Immobilization and disappearing are the survival strategies of the dorsal vagal system. Around 400 million years ago, the sympathetic nervous system emerged in another now extinct fish, the earliest known vertebrate that had a jawbone, called an acanthodian. With the addition of the sympathetic nervous system, there was now an option for movement as a survival strategy, and fight and flight came into being. Finally, around 200 million years ago, the other part of the parasympathetic nervous system, the ventral vagal system, came into being. This is a uniquely mammalian system. To get the sense of this system, if you have a dog or cat, you might imagine them curled up with you, or sitting with a friend talking, or even simply walking in nature, feeling connected to the earth. This system allows us to feel safe, connect, and communicate. So we do in fact have a parasympathetic and sympathetic system, but the parasympathetic system is divided into two parts. The first to emerge dorsal branch and the most recent ventral branch. So taken together, these two branches, along with the sympathetic nervous system, gives us access to three pathways, each of which brings a different response. With this basic understanding, let's get to know the architecture of the autonomic nervous system. The vagus nerve is not a single nerve, but rather a bundle of nerves that begins in the brainstem and travels through the body, affecting many different organs along the way. Vagus actually means wanderer in Latin, and this vagus nerve is aptly named. From your brainstem, the vagus moves down the side of your neck, behind your carotid artery, around to the front of your body, and travels down through your throat, lungs, heart, into your abdomen and digestive system. Sense into the beauty of this system with its many branches. You might put one hand on the base of your neck, where your brainstem is, and with the other hand trace the pathway of the vagus around the side of your neck, down your throat, to your lungs, your heart. Follow your digestive tract. Feel the energy moving up and down this autonomic highway. The information carried along the vagal pathways runs from the body to the brain and the brain to the body. This is a bidirectional pathway. 80% of the information travels from the body to the brain, with 20% returning from the brain, bringing a motor response. When we are disconnected from our bodies, we're also disconnected from being able to tune into the important information that's held in our autonomic nervous system. The vagus is divided into two parts, and this division happens at the level of the diaphragm. The diaphragm is the muscle that separates your chest from your abdomen. If you put one hand on your chest and one just under your rib cage, you're in the vicinity of your diaphragm. From the diaphragm downward is the realm of the dorsal vagus. The dorsal vagus runs our digestion when doing its everyday, non-reactive job in our system. But when it's activated in survival mode, the dorsal vagus takes us out of awareness, out of connection, and into collapse and immobilization. We're disconnected. We feel numb. We suffer with digestive problems. We sometimes have the experience of going through the motions without really being present. That experience of being here but not here that most of us have felt. There's a conservation of energy in our biological systems. Everything, in fact, slows down, bringing just enough energy to keep us alive. There's an autonomic hope that if we disappear, become invisible, if we don't feel what's happening or inhabit where we are, we'll survive this moment. We escape into not knowing, not feeling, a sense of not being. Can you feel the energy of this place, even as I just talk about it? From the diaphragm upward is the realm of the ventral vagus. This is the place where we feel safe. We can both regulate with others and regulate on our own. Our heart rate is regulated and our breath is full and easy. We take pleasure in seeing the faces of friends. We can tune into conversations and tune out distractions. We can acknowledge distress and explore options, both reach out for and offer support. We're resourced and resourceful. Our attention is toward connection to ourselves, to others, to the world, and to spirit. This is the place of well-being. Can you sense into this energy? Can you feel your system come alive? Take a moment and move between these two vagal pathways. Place a hand on the base of your skull and a hand over your heart. Imagine this ventral vagal pathway and feel the energy moving between your two hands. Take a moment to acknowledge all the abilities this system brings. And now move your hand from your heart to your abdomen. With one hand in your brainstem and one hand on your abdomen, you are connected to the dorsal vagal pathway. Imagine this pathway and feel the energy that moves here. Take a moment and acknowledge the ways this system works on your behalf, nourishing you through your digestive processes and protecting you by taking you out of awareness.